Greetings, this is Dr. Willie Jolley, and I want to welcome you to my new Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways podcast series. We have been overwhelmed with the responses that people have shared from listening to these messages on my SiriusXM show over the years. Those listeners, and they're sharing my show with their network, telling people about it, telling their family members, their friends, and their coworkers about this show and the impact it's having on their lives. That's the main reason that this show is now #1 for self-help in America, and I'm very grateful. Yet, we realize that many people do not have satellite radio and therefore could not experience for themselves the message. They could not get it for themselves. So we are now sharing these messages with everyone via this new podcast. Enjoy it and share it with your network. And let's help even more people to do more, be more, and achieve more. Tell everybody so that they can live a Wealthy Ways life as well. Welcome to the new Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways podcast. And remember, your best is yet to come.
Named one of the outstanding 5 speakers in the world.
Inducted into the Speaker Hall of Fame.
Award-winning singer.
Best-selling author.
And now, here's Willie Jolley.
And yes, you only have a minute, only 60 seconds in it. It's forced upon you. You can't refuse it. You didn't seek it. You didn't choose it, but it's up to you to use it. You must suffer if you lose it. Give account if you abuse it. Just a tiny little minute, but your eternities are wrapped up in it. And I want to thank you for this minute, this moment, to be on with you, to share with you some ideas to empower and encourage and inspire and uplift you as you go through this thing called life. And so I'm prayerful that you will be inspired today, motivated today, empowered today, and emboldened. When emboldened means don't let stuff frighten you. When it's in front of you, you don't let stuff frighten you. You keep going. Fear is not the absence of courage. It's just having the fear and going forward anyway. You're dealing with it. So you got to just go and forward. In fact, courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is having fear and going forward anyway. And so I'm glad that you'll be able to be emboldened today by this interview. I'm telling you, you're going to be emboldened. Now, I want to thank all of you who continue to tell people about this show. Show continues to expand and grow the listenership because of you, not because of me, because of you who continue to tell your friends, man, you got to hear this Willie Jolley interview or this show that he did today. You got to listen to one of the other times it airs. Or you got to pull up the podcast of his shows and get some of the others. I had one guy who said, I listen to your podcast on the way every day to work, a different one. We got so many now that are on the podcast. He says, on your way to work, he listens, and then on his way home, he listens. And he says, change his life. It's changed his life. And I'm grateful because it has changed my life to be able to do these podcasts, to do these interviews, to be able to have the relationship with these incredible people who bless me and bless so many. So I'm grateful. Now, you know, I start every show by giving God glory, giving him praise, giving him thanks for life and strength and health, giving him thanks for all the blessings, not just the show doing well and the podcasts and the tours and the books, but for life and strength and health and friends who can bless you, who can support you, who you know got your back. So I'm grateful for all of that, and I'm grateful for my listeners who have blessed me in ways that you cannot understand or comprehend. So thank you, and I give God glory for all of that. Well, my show today is another barn burner. It's going to be. I'm telling you in advance. I already know. And I'm grateful for all of the guests. And today's guest is no different. I got a call one day from my friend Dwight Freeman, New York Life agent. Calls me on my cell phone. And his brother is one of the big pastors in the Washington area, and I've been there to their church. And he said, I got this lady who has made history, African-American woman, first African-American elected to a citywide office in the city council in Canton, Ohio. She is awesome. She's got this great story. And I get a lot of calls like that, okay? But something about his energy, his enthusiasm. So he said, can you just at least say hi to her on the phone? So we talked on the phone. She said she'd send me her book. I said, okay. Now I got stacks of books of people who've sent me books, but hers had something special on the front. Had Forward by Les Brown. Well, everybody, y'all who listen constantly know that's my buddy, my big brother. So I called him. I said, Les, I got this book from a lady named Corey Minor Smith. He said, Willie, you've got to interview her. You've got to interview her. You're going to be blessed. I'm telling you, she's got quite a story, and she will change so many people who will listen to this interview. So I said, okay, going on Les Brown's, okay. I said, let's do it. Let me tell you, folks, after I talked to her, I realized why Les said it. So I'll give you a quick synopsis of who this lady is and why you want to stay tuned. I read this little piece. Every success story is normally preceded by a tragedy, or every happy ending, as T.D. Jakes would say, has a devastating middle, or a horrific childhood that was narrowly escaped by an individual who refused to quit. Well, this is that success story, the real success story, the story about the damsel in distress who was continually motivated to succeed. Many military families transition through tours of duty, and the average military child will attend 6 to 9 different schools in their educational pursuits through life. This is 3 times more than the non-military student. Well, that is except for this lady, Corey Minor Smith. She was never a military brat. She attended 14 different schools, lived in 3 different states, and resided in 8 different households. She was the product of a young love that didn't quite go the right way in the long term, but it ended up being a great story. For her to get here, any way she gets here is fine. She ended up in the worst end of a bad breakup, living with her mother in some challenging places. Then it got worse. Her mother was diagnosed with manic depression and schizophrenia. She was delusional and got progressively worse. One day, she abruptly left Corey with friends in Texas and left. And devastated by this seemingly off-the-wall decision, Corey finished the semester at school there and soon followed her mother to Ohio, which was her 14th school to transfer to. She was shook but still motivated. She ended up with her God-fearing paternal grandmother, Lucielle. Though it was her 8th residence, she was finally in a stable environment in Canton, Ohio. And that is a place where you don't think of a lot of maybe big success stories. You think of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But this young girl was smart, she was determined, and she had big dreams. And they were bigger than mental illness could stop, and the mental illness of her mother. Well, the dysfunctional story did not destroy her. It could have broken her, but she went on to become a mother, then a wife, then an attorney, and then a successful city public servant. First on the school board, and now as the first African-American, not African-American woman, first African-American elected to citywide city council positions in a position in the city of Canton, Ohio. And she ran against 6 other people. Everybody said she wasn't going to win, but she did. So my guest today is going to tell you how she has done it, how she continues to make history, and how you can do the same. Corey Minor Smith. Are you there, Corey Minor Smith?
Yes, thank you so very much, Dr. Jolley. I'm here.
Well, you know, I gave him the thumbnail sketch. Tell us a little more about that story and what I left out.
Well, essentially, the baseline of the story, if you will, is what you stated, the 14 schools, 8 different households in 3 different states. So not only Ohio and Texas, but I also lived in California. And I take the opportunity to talk to families, talk to youth most importantly, because many of them are currently going through a lot of the issues that I went through in my youth, and maybe, you know, feeling trapped, feeling like they can't get out, feeling like there's no opportunity or hope for their lives. So I try to openly share my story in hopes that it will reach a young person to encourage them to continue to set any goal that they can think of for themselves and strive to reach it. And I talk about that in 5 different principles that I've applied in my own life and found them very helpful. And then the other part of it is to help families and loved ones that have a mentally ill loved one. A lot of times, particularly in the Black community, we don't want to talk about mental illness, but it is a very important topic, and it is time to talk about it because many of our youth are dying, unfortunately, and many of them are struggling with the feelings that they have, the emotions that they have, and ultimately depression. So for those who are young as well as those who are family members that have a loved one with mental illness, there are resources available, and I just feel it my passion to help encourage people through the process of finding out the resources and using them so that they can get through each and every day.
Wow. Well, you have been able to write a new book called Driven.
Yes, #driven.
#driven. All right, #driven. And she is just incredible. And Les said on the back, he said, this woman has a story that the world needs to hear. So what we're going to do in this interview, we're going to talk about her story. We're going to talk about the lessons she learned that we can be empowered and inspired by from her story. We're going to talk about this whole concept of mental health. And that's what was one of the things that was so intriguing, because I spoke in Topeka, Kansas, some years ago for the annual Martin Luther King Jr. Day celebration, which Topeka has the biggest or the longest, not maybe the biggest, but the longest, most intricate Martin Luther King activities in America. They have a week worth of activities, and I was the culminating night on a Saturday night, and then I spoke at a church on a Sunday morning. And when I spoke the Saturday night, I spoke in my speech about how important it was for people to get counseling when they're going through tough moments, and that they need some counseling, that if you had a broken arm, what would you do? You go to the doctor. If you had a broken foot, what would you do? You go to the doctor. But dealing with grief or mental illness or depression, we often find it, particularly in our community, we try and heal it ourselves. And I told him how when I lost my mother, my brother, my father-in-law in 2003, within 30 days, I knew I needed some counseling. And I went and sought it quickly. Well, I say that in my speech. The guy comes up to me at the end of my speech and says, I'm the president of the National Association of Black Psychologists. I've never heard a speaker recommend counseling to people. I'm so excited because you've shared something that we all need to hear people talk about, but we often feel bad about going to counseling. You've opened up a door, and you said it was critical. So we're going to talk about mental health. We're going to talk about success. We're going to talk about growing yourself and your future and pulling yourselves up by your bootstraps and succeeding at the high levels of success. We're going to be right back. This is Dr. Willie Jolley. My special guest is Corey Minor Smith, the author of the brand new book. It's an awesome new book, #driven. And we'll be right back. And for sure, your best is yet to come.
Stand right by your side if you lose.
Hi, this is Dr. Willie Jolley, and if you're enjoying this information you're hearing on this podcast, I want to invite you to get even more great information on my new free gift page on my website. Go to wjspeaks.com and hit the All Access badge. On that page, you will find information and resources specifically designed to help you to have greater success. Free ebooks, music, all sorts of interesting and informational interviews for my XM show. I'm telling you, this is a great page. And why do I do it? Because I've learned that the more we give, the more we get. And the more we help other people to grow and go to the next level, the more we receive in our business. So we want to help you. Tell your friends about it. Go to Facebook and get my information. Go to my website, get my free resources, and get on wjspeaks.com and hit that All Access badge. It looks like a backstage pass. Click it. You'll get behind the scenes information to the special page to help you grow. All we want in return, all we ask is that you pass it on, because the more you give, the more you get. This is Dr. Willie Jolley. Have a great day.
A to the D to the T to the I to the T to the U to the D to the E. A to the D to the T to the I to the T to the U to the E to the E. It's about your attitude. It's about your attitude. It's about your attitude. It's all about your attitude. It's about your attitude. It's about your attitude. It's about your attitude. It's all about your attitude. It's about your attitude. It's about your attitude. It's about your attitude. It's all about your attitude. It's about your attitude. It's about your attitude. It's about your attitude. It's all about your attitude.
It's about your attitude. 1 8-letter word that has such a big impact on your success or your failure. Attitude, not just about a disposition, but also about how you see the world, how you see life. Do you see it from a negative perspective, or do you see it from a positive perspective? It's your choice. It's about your attitude. See, my friend Keith Harrell wrote a book called Attitude is Everything, and he wasn't lying. Attitude truly is everything. It's about how you view things, how you perceive things, and how you go after things. Can you control the time? No. Can you control the weather? No. Can you control what other people say or do? No. You can only control you and your attitude. And your attitude to life determines your altitude in life. It's about your attitude. And we're back. This is Dr. Willie Jolley. And for those who are just joining us, I've got as my special guest a friend of Les Brown's. He wrote the foreword for her new book, #Driven. She is a woman who was abandoned, abused, discounted. But today she is an attorney, an author, a transformational speaker, and holds the title as a history maker. The first African American elected to citywide city council ever, and was running against 6 other folks, and she was not expected to win. They were trying to say there was no way she could win, but she won. Let's talk about how you did this. What was your process? How did a sister do this and be successful in the effort?
Yes, well, thank you very much for the opportunity to share in regards to this elected position. I currently hold the position of City Council at large, so I'm the first African American to be elected citywide in the city of Canton, and specifically with Canton City Council at large. I'm one of 3 members. There's a total of 12 of us, but the other 9 represent an individual ward, and 3 of us represent the entire city. So that's the history of this position. And it was really a non-traditional pursuit. No one expected me to win. And like you said, there were 600 candidates, but in the primary election, there were 8 other candidates, all of the same party.
Wow.
And the others had long-term name recognition. Their parents, potentially grandparents, were elected officials or public servants, well-known last names. And then here I come, Corey Minor Smith, 14 schools, 3 states, 8 different households, and not really having a name, but building a name. Because as you mentioned, I was also on the school board. And prior to the school board, I'm the first African-American female to run for judge in Canton Municipal Court. So I did have an ultimate goal of becoming judge here in Stark County, and that was to break history or make history in being the first elected black female judge in this county. We haven't had a black judge since like the 1990s, and he was the first elected, and we haven't had any since. So with all of that, there was a lot of work put into it, and I am so grateful for everyone who supported me and encouraged me and kept me lifted throughout the whole process. I came in number one, which was just, astonishing and just overwhelming to me. But I came in number one out of 8, and then in the general, I came in number one out of 6 candidates.
Wow. Well, what was the secret? How did you do it? What was your strategy?
Hanging in there and being driven. I mean, there's so many challenges, and that's what you don't hear about. We hear about these successes, but we don't necessarily hear about the challenges, like putting up these large signs only to go out the next day and see somebody took them down. I've had just so many different issues that would make me want to give up, but I'm just focused on certain things that I would like to accomplish, and I just stay prayed up, as my grandmother says, to keep me protected from all hurt, harm, and danger, seen and unseen.
Yep.
And I try to keep moving forward each day with that thought in mind.
Wow. So it sounds like your mother had mental illness, your dad got arrested, and eventually you end up with this grandmother.
Yes.
It's, I love that song. My grandmother, she was praying for me.
Yes.
She was praying for me. Tell me about this relationship and what you learned from your grandmother.
Oh, I've learned so much from my grandmother. I know when I bought my grandparents' house, where I live right now in Canton, Ohio, was my grandparents' house. And my family members would call me Little Blue Shell because I had so many of her characteristics and traits, But she just taught me a lot about church, about relying and believing and trusting in God, because it's hard each day to think about that, but just knowing that He is here and guiding and leading, and we do have to call upon Him. I have her Bible sitting on my desk right now, and every so often I just flip it open to see whatever page is there, and I feel so comforted in seeing, her lines, underlying certain verses in the Bible, and just feeling like she's speaking to me at that very moment.
That's awesome. And I think that's part of the success principles that you had. You had an undergirding of faith.
Yes.
In the midst of all of the transition, all of the chaos, all of the crazy, all of the difficult. And I'm not talking about crazy about her mom. I'm talking about her crazy life. This crazy, people writing her off, telling her that it's not possible. People just throwing all sorts of obstacles at you, but you refuse to give in. You refuse to give up. And now you've hit historic, but you also became an attorney. I mean, that's not an easy task either. Oh,
it surely wasn't. And I thank God I made it through and passed that bar on the first time.
Amen.
Because I did not want to have to take it again. I did not want to have to take that again. Oh, my gosh. In Ohio, it's 3 days.
It's a 3-day test?
Lunch. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
So let's talk about we're going to talk about some of the principles that are in your book. Let's start with, I think there are 5 major principles. Why don't you just start giving them out and go into detail?
Sure. Faith. And really the faith comes from, my mother, she was strong in church as well. My father, even though he didn't go to church, he made us go to church. So if there was something that we wanted to do like later in the day, if we didn't go to church, then we couldn't do that other thing. So the faith is really from my family, my parents, making me go to church, having me in church. And even though I may not have lived out my life, applying all the things I learned in church, it sticks with you. So as that Bible verse says, train up a child in the way or he or she should go, and they will, pursue that. Ultimately, I just say don't give up on our youth, because they can, stray away. Even as adults, we stray away, but you can have that internal faith and belief in God that will eventually bring you back. My second principle is motivation. I believe that, our outside external things like listening to your podcast and other motivational speakers, outside sources that can help lift you when you may feel low or feel like it's impossible. You reach out or allow yourself to receive the motivation from others that are in your circle or just in your area. The other is determination. I believe determination is something that nobody can give you or take away from you. It's like the internal inferno that Shannon Sharp talks about. I talk in my book about Shannon Sharp and when he was a fame. When I heard him,
When he was a what?
he was inducted into the Hall of Fame. He's a football player,
yes.
a retired football player.
Yeah.
And he talked about having a 5-alarm fire that he could never describe. That, to me, was determination, just something inside of you that's driving you to be whatever it is that you are passionate about or feel. And in his case, it was football. You know, football drove him to be the best football player that he could be, to eventually take him out of the life that he no longer wanted. So determination is something inside of you. Preparation, you'll enjoy this one because it is a direct example of working with Les Brown. I remember when I first asked Les to use his statement that is now on the back of the book. She has a story for the world to hear. I called him up one day to ask if I could use that on my marketing material, and he told me, I'll do better than that. I'll write the foreword to your book if you want me to. My mouth just dropped open. I was so excited, but at the same time, I knew that I didn't have a book. I just had this excited statement saying, I'm writing a book, but I had not even started writing the book. So I wasn't prepared for the help that he was willing to give me. And that taught me that fourth principle, being prepared for the things that you are asking for in your life. And I do thank God that he was still willing to write the foreword years later, you know, when I did eventually start working on the book.
Wow.
And number 5 is action. You know, we can daydream, we can wish, we can think about it, we can doodle on paper in class or at work, but if you don't actually take action, you will never reach the goals that you set for yourself. You know, you could start off just writing steps that you think it would take to reach the goal, but you have to take some type of action, some type of step towards the thing that you want to achieve. So those are the 5 principles: faith, motivation, determination, preparation, and action.
Wow. I love those, and I think those are exactly what people need to hear about growing themselves and growing their futures. That you got to have faith. You got to have the faith to believe that it's possible. Faith is not the absence of doubt, but it's willing to overcome it and keep going and keep fighting for it. So rely and then trust in God. Now, people know that this show is a faith-based show. I talk about my faith in God. And I know everybody who listens here say, well, I don't believe. I'm not trying to convince you or convert you. I'm just telling you what works for me. You know, this worked for me. There have been some tough moments, but I trust God. And I was telling a friend today, let me tell you, a friend of mine called me, and he, about a month ago, or a year ago, he had colon cancer. And then a month ago, he did diagnosed with pancreatic issue. And then he had a disc problem in his back. He was trying to go down the steps. His disc shot him a pain. He missed the step, fell down the steps, broke 2 ribs, and then he said, man, I'm going through, but I believe like Job. Yet though he slay me, yet will I trust him. He said, I just got to trust God. This is going to work. I know it's going to work. I'm going to be okay because I trust God. And I thought that was so encouraging that he understands that we all go through tough moments. But it's your faith in God. Rely on trust in God. Then motivation. Listen and get positive motivation in your life. Now, folks, if you've ever heard me speak, you'll know I talk about the fact that my life changed when I was at my lowest moment as a professional in my career, not in my personal life, because my mom and my brother and my family members dying was the most difficult. But when I lost my job and was just on my broke, I mean, I was just at the lowest, broke, busted, disgusted. But a friend gave me a book, Think and Grow Rich, and gave me a motivational tape. And those 2 things inspired me. I read the book, first book I'd read from cover to cover, and I listened to that motivational tape, and the guy on the tape said, in 5 years, you'll be the same person you are today except for 2 things: the people you meet who inspire you and the books you read that empower you. And I started reading positive books and listening to motivational tapes and meeting positive people. And it changed my life. And so, in fact, I want to give everybody who's listening a gift. If you go to williejolly.com/gift, williejolly.com/gift, I'll give you a digital copy of Think and Grow Rich, a digital book that I wrote, some audios from this XM show, some of my music, some speaking, things to inspire you. Just gift, because somebody gave it to me when I was at my lowest. They didn't charge me for it. They just gave me something to help me. So fill yourself up with the pure, the powerful, and the positive motivation. And then, we know what? I got to take a break. I'm going on like I got forever. I'm going to take a quick break. We'll be right back after station identification. I'll go through these other points. This is Dr. Willie Jolley. Hi, this is Dr. Willie Jolley, and for years I've told people that in order to have a greater life, it starts by having greater individual days. If you have a great day and you repeat that great day 7 times, you've had a great week. And you repeat that week 4 times, you've had a greater month. And then repeat that month 12 times, you've had a greater year, and you're on your way to a greater life. And it starts with that individual day. I recommend you start each day with something powerful. I call it the pure, the powerful, and the positive. Rather than starting your day with bad news, how many people got killed or how many children got snatched or how many fires there were, I recommend you start your day with something to inspire and empower and encourage you to make this day a great day. We're excited to announce the start of Jolly TV on my Facebook page. Go to Willie Jolley, Willie.Jolley on Facebook. Just go to Willie.Jolley on Facebook and get ready for a great day and a great life. Have a great day on purpose. And we're back. Dr. Willie Jolley, my special guest, Corey Minor Smith, a history maker who has made history in the city of Canton, Ohio, and has a new book, #Driven. And she's telling us the points. First, faith, then motivation, then determination, which is that internal inferno, that fire that keeps you fighting for your dreams. And sometimes your determination is your why. Why do you do it? What is the why? Nietzsche said, if you can understand your why, you can overcome any how. And he overcame being in a concentration camp because he understood the why. Then preparation. Be prepared for what you're asking. We want to be wealthy. We want to be rich. We want to, whatever it is you're praying, ask for, be prepared for it to come your way and handling it. But we know people who often get blessed with big financial gain lose it because they're not prepared on how to handle it. And then action. We can wish, we can think about it, we can daydream about it, we can doodle about it, but until you take action, nothing really happens. Vision without an action is an illusion. An action without a vision is mere confusion. But a vision plus an action that's focused can transform your life and transform your future. So, Corey Minor Smith has given you 5 principles. Now, let's say you were, and one of the things I ask people in interviews, let's say you went to a college and there was a class of students and they want to be successful. They wanted to be entrepreneurs. They wanted to be in business. They wanted to do some of the things you've done. I'm sure you give them these 5 points. Anything else you'd share with them? Hey, here's something you should do.
Yeah, I think it's important for each individual to actually sit down and define what success is for him or her. Many times we have these, like you said, illusions of success, and it's based off of what we see on TV or hear about or read about or what you see in a magazine. But what is success to you? You know, a lot of my life, my success was like not being like my mother. Like I didn't want to have 2 and 3 jobs. She tended to always work at a convenience store in a fast food restaurant, and I did not want that. I wanted more. So my definition of success started with that being my premise, the more that I wanted. So, and it's for each person. And I think they need to take the time to sit down and define what success is for him or her.
Wow, I think that's brilliant. Because people have different definitions of success.
Yes.
Okay, and what else would you tell them?
I would tell them to hang in there.
And that's literally,
Stay
and
driven.
believe it or not, and your story exemplifies that, how important it is to not give up. Hang in there. You can't give up. Just don't give up. Don't throw in the towel. Don't stop. Amazing things happen, and I've learned happen when you refuse to quit.
Yes, and you do have to, just rely and receive the help that's available to you, because I surely could not be where I am without my family and my friends that have been there all along the way. And as I said, my grandmother and all the others that allowed me to live with them. So it's not a solo show, that you have to understand that people aren't getting to where they are by themselves. And they surely aren't doing it without scraped up knees.
Woo!
There is a struggle to
Woo! Scraped up knees, baby. I love that. That's exactly right. Because there's no such thing as easy success or achievement. My doctorate is in achievement. Okay, my doctorate is in faith-based achievement. And one of the things I learned in that doctoral program and I wrote about is that you can be successful in a sense, and you can have, let's say you can get rich by chance. Okay, you can hit the lottery. You can walk down the street and find a lottery ticket. I mean, you could by chance, but you cannot achieve success. Achieve, the word achieve, by its definition means you must work. You must work at it. You must do something. You must pursue it. You must fight for it. You must work at it. And then you can achieve. And that's what you really have done. You have achieved incredible achievements, but it took work.
Absolutely. And there's this, like a final page in my book. It ends, and it's a diagram or a design that I saw online, and it gives like a split screen of success. Some people think it looks like a straight line, like straight from the start to the finish, but it's actually a bunch of squiggly lines.
I'm looking at it
up there.
Yep.
Yeah. So I really feel like not only that depicts my life, but also just what people think about success and what versus what it actually is.
I like this quote. And this is on her page 241 in her book. Don't allow undesirable circumstances to be excuses for you to fail, but allow them to be reasons for you to excel.
Yes.
Wow.
And that stems from a conversation with an educator that helped me to fill out scholarship applications when I did not know how I was going to be able to go to college. And she knew about my life. She knew more about me than I knew about me because she knew my family. And she told me that I had what she called undesirable circumstances. Her name was Norma Washington. And from that phrase, I developed this quote, which I consider my life's motto. Don't allow undesirable circumstances to be excuses for you to fail, but allow them to be reasons for you to excel. Because we could find reasons why, excuses of why you can't do something all day long, but you have to try to find and use those as reasons to move forward.
Wow. So the book, you got Rise Up is one of the chapters, and the fact that you got to be driven, you got to stay driven. I love this poem in here. And on this day, I pledge to give you my hand in marriage as a symbol of my dedication, commitment, and sincerity. As your wife, our union will be filled with God's security. I pledge today to provide unconditional love regarding of any strife. May the Lord bless this union for a lifetime. My husband and I and your wife. And so you say you read that at your marriage or your wedding.
Those were my vows. Yes, it actually read as a poem, and I really believe that God gave me those words because I don't know how I came up with them rhyming like that.
Yeah.
But those were my vows, and he also, had delivered his personalized vows. Yes.
Okay. See, part of that is part of your story, your whole story, and this woman is transparent. Woo! She tells the truth, like having a child in college that was not planned for her to do at that moment, but she has went on with that, and he's now successful. He's in his 20s, and then having another child later on, and who now, I think, 16 years old. And being able to juggle all of this, plus have these careers, legal career, public service career, and now author career, speaker career, and dealing with mental health, and pushing and prodding and encouraging and uplifting people to understand that mental health in our community, and mental health is real. A lot of folks are struggling. A lot of folks are struggling with their parents, with their loved ones, and they don't know what to do. And you are such an advocate for helping them say, you can get through this. Yeah, you can.
Yes.
I love that. I love how you have continued to do that. One of the things I want to encourage people to do is to make a point that if you're dealing with grief, did you get a book called Life After Loss by Dietz, D-E-I-T-S, Life After Loss. He was a guest on this show maybe a year or so ago. And when my mom and brother and father-in-law died, someone gave me a copy, sent me a copy of that book, and it blessed me so tremendously. It helped me get through it, as well as my counseling. So Life After Loss. And then I know a lot of people dealing with health grief, because sometimes grief is not just the loss of a loved one, it's a change of your life. So I had a gentleman, as I said, who I talked to earlier, who had been colon cancer. Now they found a spot on his pancreas. And I tell people when they are dealing with cancer to go to my jollygoodnews.org site, jollygoodnews.org. On the left side, if you'll scroll down, there's an interview called Cancer Thrivers and Survivors. Cancer Thrivers and Survivors. Click it and listen to it. It's an interview I did here on this show a number of years ago now. It was when I was doing the afternoon 2-hour show on Saturday afternoons live. And I interviewed two people who had never met each other. One had stage 4 cancer, stage 4 pancreatic cancer. One had stage 4 throat cancer. And they described how they both beat it. And both to this day are doing well. This has been many years now. And the thing that blessed me so was they talked about your mental attitude, your conversations, your prayer, and how you refuse to accept this diagnosis as the end of your life. And so it's powerful, and I think your book has that same kind of determination.
Yes.
So where can people get the book?
By going to CoreyEmpowers.com. That's CoreyEmpowers.com.
CoreyEmpowers.com. And if they needed you to speak, they can reach you there as well?
Yes, and they can also call 330-452-9937.
Awesome. Awesome. Now we're going to take another break. When we come back, we're going to talk more about how you, if you're dealing with your own mental health issues, what are things you should be doing so that you can get back on track and on your way to create wealth for your future and your family and your faith that will help you get through this. This is Dr. Willie Jolley. You're listening to the Willie Jolley Wealthy Way Show, and for sure, your best is yet to come. We'll be right back. Hi, this is Dr. Willie Jolley, and people often ask, how did I go from a broke, busted nightclub singer to become a best-selling author and to be voted one of the outstanding 5 speakers in the world by the 175,000 members of Toastmasters International? The answer is that I decided to invest and change my thinking, invest in my mindset, and decided to change my inputs because inputs determine outputs. I heard about a seminar years ago when I was just getting started. I was making about $100 a speech. And I heard this seminar that was creating millionaires, and it cost $10,000, but the guy was getting results. I didn't have that kind of money, but I decided to borrow it because I learned that there's a price for success, the price of college, the price of going to school, the price of education. And there's a price for success, and then there's a cost for not paying the price, the cost of staying the same. And that cost is greater than the price. It's too expensive. And so I went, and it changed my life. And I came back and quickly made $100,000. I heard a similar story from Dr. Dave Martin, how he went to a success rally, heard a speaker who inspired him. He and his friends said, wow, that's changed my life. The speaker had a package of materials to help build wealth. The package cost $1,500. And that was all the money Dr. Dave had to his name. Dr. Dave's friend asked, do you think this stuff is worth it? Dr. Dave thought for a moment. He said, I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it. But I do know that I'm worth it. I'm worth it. He invested that money in that package and used the materials to grow his thinking. He grew his mindset. He shared how that $1,500 investment has gone on to generate millions in revenues. He's a multimillionaire. And he has homes now in Arizona and Florida. I want to say to you, it's time to invest in you. I want to give you some materials that will help you, grow your mindset, grow your future, grow your finances. Go to wjspeaks.com/billionaire. wjspeaks.com/billionaire to get some materials that will inspire your success and help you find that there's a price for success, but there's a cost for not paying the price. And the cost is always greater than the price. Go to wjspeaks.com/billionaire and get the bag, the box, or any of the materials there and keep growing your wealth. And remember, as a man thinketh, so as he is, and your best is yet to come. Dr. Willie Jolley, and I am so excited to be talking to Corey Minor Smith. Les Brown said, you got to have this woman on. You got to interview her. You got to hear her story. And then Dwight Freeman said, you got to get this woman. I had all these people saying, what? Who is this woman? I need to know her. And then come to find out she is a history maker, an African-American woman who is the first African-American to be elected city council citywide in the city of Canton, Ohio. But that's just part of her achievement. She did it after being in 8 homes, 14 schools, struggling with her mother's mental illness and trying to maintain her own stability and a grade point average so she could get out of high school to college, college to grad school, and grad school to law school. But she did it. What were you thinking during that time? What kept you going? I mean, what was it?
I have to say prayer and people praying for me when I didn't know to pray for myself.
Oh, come on, somebody. Yes.
Absolutely. And I must say, the epilogue of the book, #Driven, is there's an article called History with a Twist. A lot of times people think, you reach success and like you don't have any other problems, like, life is just grand and there's nothing more. But this tells about the election and all that I was going through during the campaign, because my mother was at one of her worst points. And I literally got a call. I was on my way to court, and I literally got a call from someone, a public employee, calling to tell me that they had found my mom staying in a vacant house with no utilities.
Wow.
So if you can just take a moment to try to process this, I'm on my way to court where I have to, deal with cases, and I'm just getting this news and can do nothing at that moment to help my mom but go to court and then try to work with my family and the agencies to try to find her, because once they, had her leave out of the house, no one knew where she was. So it's very interesting, the cycle that a lot of people with mental illness go through, but it is so important for families to try to work together, as mine has done, with mental health agencies and law enforcement, because we've, in some situations, had to do missing person reports with my mom only to find out that she's in a whole nother state, and that has happened more than one time. So it is complicated, but it's possible, and you have to stay prayed up.
Absolutely. And I love one of the quotes in there. You went from JD to JD. All right. You went from juvenile delinquent to Juris Doctor. I love that. Okay. So we've got people who are listening who want to be successful, who want to be what you have become, who want to do what you have done, to be a mom, a wife, a public servant, a successful career person, and they don't know where to get started. What do they do? How do I get started? I want to be what she's been. I want to do some of the things she's done. I want to achieve like she's achieved, but I don't know where to start. What would you recommend?
I recommend sitting down and writing out your goals.
Ah.
Start with 3 of them. Start with 3 goals, and then use your brain process to think about at least 3 steps to reach that goal.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's good. 3 goals and then 3 steps to reach those goals.
Yes.
Wow, that's good. That is good. Anything else?
Yes, I would then expand it. Once you reach those goals, because you don't want to stop. You can continue to set goals and create the steps needed to reach those goals. And I just say overall to stay encouraged, because it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy, but you have to stay in there. How would you
stay encouraged when you're discouraged?
Well, just like that second principle, motivation, getting the motivation from outside sources, family members, friends, people in the community who are willing and more than able and wanting to help you reach your goal.
I love that. You got to fill yourself with the pure, the powerful, and the positive. And when you're down on the canvas sometimes, you got to have yourself count you up to get off that canvas. You got to start counting yourself up. Okay, hold up. I'm down here. I'm not. Oh, no. I'm not staying here. I got to get up. Get up off that canvas. Get up. Come on. You got to scrape and claw. I love something that T.D. Jakes said. He said, people wonder how I came from West Virginia, a little town in West Virginia, to do what I've done, to achieve what I've achieved. He said, well, I was scraping and clawing and scratching every step of the way. That's how I did it. And when I would get down, I wouldn't stay down. I'd bounce back up, or I'd try and scratch back up. He said, so when I come to die, hopefully it won't be now, no time soon, but one day when I come to die, look up under my nails, because there'll be dirt there, because I'm still scratching and clawing all the way to the end. And that's what you've got to do, folks. You've got to keep scratching and clawing. Get up off the canvas. Life knocks you down. If you ever read my book, A Setback is a Setup for a Comeback, I talk about how when I was a boy, my mom bought my brother and I one of those punching bags that had the smiley face with the weighted bottom. You'd punch it, it bounced back up. You punch it, it bounced back up. It punch it and bounce back up. But we kept trying to keep it down. We'd punch it with everything we had, but it bounced back up. We'd hit it with everything we had. It bounced back up. We even took bats to it, baseball bat, but it always come back up. So eventually we left it alone and went and found something we could tear up, keep down, and knock out and knock down, or whatever we were trying to do. But every now and then, when that thing wasn't watching us, we'd sneak up behind it, and at the same time hit it with everything we had to try and knock it down and keep it down. But it would always bounce back up with that smile on his face. But that's how life is. Life would knock you down, but I encourage you to bounce back up. And then it'll knock you down again, and I encourage you to bounce back up again. And I want you to keep bouncing back up and keep bouncing back up. Now, eventually life will leave you alone and go find a wimp it can keep down. But every now and then, when you least expect it, life is going to sneak up on your blind side and hit you with something that will knock you out. I mean, knock all the air out of you, right? Just hit you in your solar plexus. But that's when I want you to do what Corey Minor Smith has done. Gather all you got. Pray about it. Talk about it. And then move about it. Get back up. Even if you have to just get up and hold on to the ropes while you're gathering yourself. Your knees are wobbly. But hold on to the ropes if necessary. But whatever you got to do, get back up on your feet. Look life in the eye. Say, you may knock me down, but I promise you will never keep me down, because I'm a comeback kid. And that's what you have become, a comeback kid. So you've been able to do this and now have a book to proclaim the story, to tell the memoir, to tell the lessons, as well as to encourage people to understand the importance of helping your loved ones who are struggling with mental health. And I think we all know somebody in our family who got some mental health issues. Would you say that's true, Corey?
Yes, absolutely, or someone you know in the community.
And so you want to be, do you want to be sensitive, or how do you, I mean, there's sometimes you just say, I don't know what to do about these folks. What do you say?
Yeah, sometimes I don't know what to do with my mom, and that's why it's important to know what the resources are that are available. 'Cause there's many times I can't directly help her because her aggression is towards me.
Wow.
But I still want to do my part, so I just, play in the backfield and still stay involved and connected with the mental health resource
That's
providers.
a great way to now analogize that, to say, I stay in the background, in the backfield, and let them do, but I make sure they know what's going on, that there are resources to help them. And many times it's hard, it's difficult, because you want to do more, but sometimes there's nothing else you can do but to make sure that they are well cared for and that the resources have been reached. And the resources have been reached to take full advantage of what your city and your state and your community and your church maybe even offer. Well, again, where can people get this book?
CoreyEmpowers.com. CoreyEmpowers.com.
And where can they reach you if they want to have you come speak or to talk or to do a session or whatever, or to interview you or whatever to help them with their issues?
330-452-9937. Or they also can email at cms@CoreyEmpowers.com.
Woo, CMF, Corey Minor Smith. I'm telling you, folks, this lady is a history maker, a world shaker, a world changer, and I'm grateful that you were able to be on with me today.
Thank you so much, and I truly appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Well, if you go to Canton, you just say you know her. Doors are open. They probably let you get a meal at one of the fancy restaurants for full price.
Or the key to the city. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I'm encouraging people to go to the Hall of Fame, Football Hall of Fame in Canton, and check it out. I'm going to do that, and then I'll get a chance to actually hang and spend some time with Corey. Well, folks, I want to thank all of you who are listeners, and maybe you're listening on the podcast. If you're not listening to the podcast, you can listen to the podcast on iHeart Radio, C-Suite Radio, iTunes, on TuneIn, and on Stitcher. Also, jollymarriage.com. Go to get the free chapter of my wife new marriage book, 34 years together. Haven't had an argument in 30 years. What was the secret? You can learn it at jollymarriage.com. Finally, An Attitude of Excellence. My new book is blowing up with companies. Stephen Covey, Alan Mulally, the former CEO of Ford, who helped transform Ford, say this is a book every organization and every team and a member and stakeholder has to have. And attitudeofexcellence.com. You can get it at Amazon. You can get it at bookstores. You can get it at attitudeofexcellence.com or at williejolly.com. Have a great day, a great week on purpose. And remember, for sure, your best is yet to come. God bless you.
Are you tired of crying and complaining? Tired of feeling like life don't treat you fair? Do you see so many others moving on while you're steady going nowhere? Have you maybe come to the conclusion that there's nothing at all that you can do? Well, just look in any mirror and you'll see who is really truly stopping you. My. It's up to every one of us to take charge of our life and to make it what we want. If you think that it takes too much time, think again, 'cause I'm telling you it don't. The fact is, it only takes a minute to make up your...
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.